Welcome to the Dusty Futon REMIX as we play through and listen to episodes from our past. Right now we're doing Season 1. We just got done doing episodes 1 through 9. And this time we're going to be replaying episodes 10, 11, and 12 of Season 1. I'm Big John, the host of the Dusty Futon, and I'm here hanging out with you guys. We're going to be talking about the episodes. I'm going to be sharing some memories. It's going to be a blast. So make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss an episode of the Dusty Futon, which Season 6 is premiering April 4th, 2018, and we are doing these Dusty Futon remixes leading all the way up to that. So make sure you're subscribed so you get all of the good stuff. Speaking of Season 6, if you're a musician or you know of a musician who is interested in getting some free publicity and having a great time just chatting it up, hit us up, shoot us an email at admin@dustyfuton.com, and we will take a look and listen and probably get you your own episode more than likely. So before we get started with episode 10, I want to thank Michael Head of Head Trap Studios and Country Rockin' Rebels for being our guest on Season 1. He sat down with us. We actually ended up doing a longer episode because we enjoyed talking with him so much. So this episode 10 and 11 are just Michael Head and Country Rockin' Rebels and some of his stories. So take a listen as we kind of prep ourselves for the way the Dusty Futon is going to go. Enjoy Season 1, Episode 10.
Well, it's dirty and it's brown, it's a little undown, like I just got it out of a middle lost and found. Trying to test it, germ infested, stained by food, partially digested. Nobody can say what you find between the dirty couch gushers that have never been cleaned. Missing keys or American cheese, trapped to sit where the kiss would conceive. Pleasure to meet ya, we're happy to see ya in the Dusty Futon.
Mike Head of the Country Rockin' Rebels.
Correct.
Band.
Right, you are the lead guitar player?
That's correct.
That's right.
And how long have you been with the band?
We have been a band in full at this point for just over 3 years.
Yeah. You guys got a pretty decent notoriety for 3 years, I'll give you that.
Tristan and I, the singer, have been doing it for a little over 5.
Okay.
Our secret weapon is Teddy Stern, and he plays everything fiddle, pedal steel, and he'll even sit in on bass. And then we have a little bit of a rotating cast on bass for live shows. So we've got on drums, Mr. Steve Tomakera. On slide guitar is Mark Epler. Again, our singer is Tristan Lures. So
Cool.
Wow, you've got several bass players, huh?
that's right. Sometimes you need that. A lot of bands have problems with drummers. No,
Yeah, I got
it's
a
cool.
problem with
Teddy
the drummer.
can play bass just as good. It's just we feel like, oh man, the crowd might be missing out because he's such a good fiddle player and such a good other element of the show. But
Okay.
You don't want to pull him off the fiddle to put him
yeah,
on
but we
something
can
else.
do a good show either way.
Yeah.
We can play. That's the other cool thing about the Rebels. We can play from a 1 or 2 person band all the way up to 6.
Now, see, that's interesting. That's
It's
great
pretty
because
cool.
that makes you more eclectic for different venues. Like you can play the
Exactly.
smaller venues, like at a little winery. You can bring the 3 guys together and do
Yeah.
a nice little gig going on, or you can play a wedding and have a full-on reception of the whole complement with whatever you guys want.
Yeah, not all members need to necessarily commit to the show for there to be a country rock and
true.
rebel shows.
It's true. Just the other night, we started out as a 4-piece and ended up as a 6-piece. And Ted was came a little later, and then our bass player Tony sat in. It was just really neat.
It's interesting. You guys kind of have that blues jam feel.
Yeah, it's familiar.
Yeah.
But you also did kind of, like you said, added a Southern California feel to it. You know, we noticed we were watching one of your music videos actually a little while ago called Summer Boys or
Summer Days.
Summer
Summer
Days.
Days.
That's what it was. Summer Days.
Definitely. Tristan tries to bring that sort of West Coast cowboy thing. He moved from Minnesota right to the beach in Mission Beach on the boardwalk. Another
Nice.
thing you were saying about the style of our band, 2 to 6 players, and our music's the same way too, because we can play a full set or more of originals. We can play 3 sets, mixing in a bunch of classic rock sort of covers, and then we can sort of do a lot more country. We can do a whole set of country, a set of blues. That opens us up for different venues or just sort of events or situations as well.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. And
Now
everybody-
you're also a producer.
Correct.
Now, which avenues have you pursued the longest? Like, were you a producer the longest? Were you a musician, a guitarist the longest, or?
A little bit of both. I mean, I probably played guitar the longest since
I can tell.
early high school. And then high school graduation, my folks got me a 4-track recorder, an old Tascam Porta 1. And I just
With the
started
cassettes.
recording on the tape. And I got an 8-track, and then I got a 16-track. And then so it's like recorded on my own bands and sort of subsidized that by people hearing what I did and, oh, can you record us? I'll do it for free. I'll do it for $7 an hour, and all of a sudden I don't have to have a real job kind of thing. So
well,
it just kind of grew from there, you know.
Now that's honestly right there is what is epitomizing the American dream. You knew what you wanted to do. You were given the tools by your parents.
Right.
Yeah. And then from there you just you had that passion that just exploded out of you as a 18-year-old and blew up into this.
It's true. Then I moved to the West Coast, moved to Hollywood at 19, went to GIT, did the Guitar Institute. I sort of just let myself learn enough technique to get into a little bit of trouble, and then, you know, from then on, you know, worked on other things as well.
So
like
the
recording and promoting and stuff like that.
What do you consider yourself a writer and like a songwriter as well?
I do a lot of my own writing, my own recording.
Anything notorious?
No, not anything too well known, but I'm definitely more singer-songwritery than you might think for a straight guitar player. I think it's just from my early upbringing, just like old school, like songs, solid songs. So.
Talking about performance and just being up there and with, I like what you guys have. It's simple and it's just right to the point, but it's also very inspiring, and, you know, it gets people out there dancing, including yourself. We were watching you on YouTube a little while ago, and that was the first thing I noticed is how active you are on the stage.
I can't fake it.
No,
it's real. It's authentic. It's not, you know what I mean? It's just I'm feeling it. That's how much I'm feeling it.
So you're just that emotional.
I guess so.
Did you cry at Titanic?
Just a little.
Just a little. when she let go of Jack's hand. Bitch, there was room on that door. No.
Kick it over.
So, okay, going back to your guitarist, you're obviously very emotional and you put a lot into it. Now, here's the question I have, and I have a feeling I know the answer. Did you have a lot of influences or just very few influences as a guitarist?
Actually, I would say it's a handful of strong influences.
And most of them people you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
I can tell that. And the reason I can tell that is I'm the same way as a guitarist, but I never pushed any further. You have your own power. You pushed yourself.
Right.
I'm guessing your biggest one was your dad.
Could be. He wasn't actually a player.
Oh.
Yeah. My mom was actually the musician of the family.
Really?
Well, now that's interesting.
And I think that's the singer-songwriter side, is that she strummed an old acoustic, an old Gibson Dove was laying around my house.
Wow.
And so she listened to like Dolly Parton, Cole Porter, Emmylou Harris, even like Jackson Brown and J.D. Souther. And
classic.
some of that. Really, really good, like just down and dirty songs. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my dad
you.
had a music store. Okay, so he had a music store where they had instruments down one side, records down the other, posters on the wall.
So it was always available to you.
It was right there all the time. And so he was the one that kind of turned me on to his friends who would come hang out at the music store, these old school guitar players from Virginia. And I would be like, okay, you know, listen to these guys, and they would say who to hang out with, who to go take a lesson from, that kind of thing. So that is actually, oddly enough, he's not a player, but
one of your bigger influences.
Yeah.
That's interesting how that works out.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
It looks like Mike just realized something. See, it just
It all
shows you.
came together.
You never know what you're going to find on the Dusty Futon.
Man, this thing is nice. I'm feeling comfortable.
Yeah, it's a little dusty. It's a little old, but, you know.
It's beautiful.
I don't call it old. I call it vintage.
There you go. Vintage, classic.
Absolutely.
Just like your influences. But
now, so you say that your mother was a big influence on you growing up because she always strummed on those old classic tunes and stuff. Did you ever get to play alongside your mother, like in projects, bands, gigs, or anything?
A little bit later, toward the end of high school, we'd had a room in the basement that was set up with a PA, and so we would do house concerts, house shows for ourselves.
Yeah.
For our family and friends and each other. And so we would play Neil Young songs and Everly Brothers and stuff like that together. So, but we had this like venue in our house, like ever since 10th grade.
That's cool.
And we'd videotaped ourselves too. There's like old video of it. It's classic.
What?
It's really crazy. Me singing like Old Man by Neil Young or Down by the River.
Ooh.
It was pretty cool.
Who was the harmony?
That was Mom.
Okay.
Nice. So in terms of influences, when you got into your more formidable years as a guitar player, where you're the lead guitarist of a band, like you basically everyone looks to, what kind of helped influence and shape that aspect of your career?
Well, like we said, I did get really latched on to Led Zeppelin and Jimmy Page, and the way that he was a producer and a lead guitarist for a band. I realized, okay, so you can be the guy that's sort of behind the scenes, although he was in the band, obviously.
So you kind of started idolizing Jimmy Page
and the way
early
he
on.
would layer things in recordings, the way that they promoted the artwork. I mean, the way that, again, he collaborated with a singer. Those kind of things, I think, shaped me a lot. Being creative.
You kind of knew from early age that this is what you wanted to do. You wanted to become the next Jimmy Page. Like you wanted to find that band and collaborate with that next lead singer that would propel you into whatever.
And even then, this is late 80s before I moved to California. Even then, I mean, I realized how far out of a dream that was. So I thought going to GIT was more pragmatic. That's all. I could make a living doing this if I had to, doing casuals, working at Guitar Center even, or something if I wanted to do it musical. That's what I told myself, and even my folks and stuff was like, I don't care if I'm famous per se.
Right. Yeah.
I want to work in this business, this industry. Let's see how far it could go, doing this.
Yeah, exposure is a hard thing to get, but everybody's sitting in front of a computer at one point or another,
or on their phone.
Or
you
on
can do
their phone.
podcasts on your phone now.
For sure.
Exactly. So we want to do that. We want to help you guys all out. In fact, do you guys have a website?
Well, countryrockinrebels.com.
Okay, perfect.
For sure. And then I have my studio site is on Facebook, which you could find at Head Trap Studios.
Perfect. Trap.
Head HEADTRAP.
Perfect.
So if somebody wanted to book you guys for a gig, they would be able to have your contact information is on the site for them?
Correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's
Easy.
Country Rockin' Rebels.
That's countryrockinrebels.com. And that's my contact, too. And
It's not Country Rock and Rebels.
Right.
It's
No.
Country Rockin'.
ROCKIN.
KIN. No G.
No G.
right.
No G. Remember that.
R
And no
O C K in
apostrophe
the USA.
either. Yeah, just simple.
R O C K in the USA. No? Okay. And yet another hard ending. I guess we did that one because we knew we were going to be continuing with Michael Head in episode 11. But speaking of Michael Head, isn't he such a nice guy? He's just so soft-spoken, so cool, great guy, great music, Country Rockin' Rebels music. Make sure you check it out. You can go to their website. The album is Ride Rebel Ride, and I got to tell you, I've listened to this album so many times. It's just great Southern rock music. It's just great rock and roll music. It's a good combination. If you like country, you'll love this. If you like rock, you'll love this. It's just really, well, I guess that's why they call themselves Country Rockin' Rebels. Anyway, well, let's go ahead and get into episode 11, where we continue talking to Michael Head of Country Rockin' Rebels and Head Trap Studios. Here is Season 1, Episode 11 of the Dusty Futon.
Well, it's dirty and it's brown, it's a little undown, like I just got it out of and lost and found. Trying to test it, germ infested, stained by food, partially digested. Nobody can say what you find between the dirty couch gushers that have never been cleaned. Missing keys or American cheese, trapped to sit where the kiss would conceive. Pleasure to meet ya, we're happy to see ya. Dusty Futon.
Yeah,
Right,
we're
exactly.
recording now.
Of course.
That was a big fuck up.
God, yeah. But it's okay. It's because our levels weren't
we're
even
still
set yet.
we're still finally learning this stuff after 10 episodes. It's our 11th episode.
11th time's a charm. That's how the old tale goes, right? That's the old saying.
I never heard that, but I like that.
That's the new American standard. 3 is just it's too much.
So no more threequels. There's
You have to give me
quels.
at least 10 times to fuck up before you can justify that it's something. It's actually a recurring problem.
Okay, well, I'll let you look smart this episode.
Thank you so much, because you're such a genius. You
Well,
know, being next to you,
Speaking of geniuses, how about Mike Head?
dude. It was so great to have him on the show last week.
I
Really,
know.
it was. Mike, if you're listening, thank you for coming out.
You know what my favorite part about Mike? He's so humble. He has no clue how smart he is. He is a musical genius.
I know he had so much to talk about, and unfortunately, we couldn't really get to
I
all of it.
have extra audio since we had so much fun talking to
I'm
him.
so glad you kept that, because there was so much stuff in there I wanted to add. but
Well,
he
here's
couldn't.
we actually talked a little bit that kind of opened up how much of a genius he is. So take a listen to this.
Okay.
I figured out how to read chord charts on my own as a kid with my mom's songbooks and her guitar. And came in and showed her, this John Denver song I could play. And she's like, how did you know? I'm like, well, these boxes, I can tell that's probably where you just put your finger. They were just chord boxes.
Yeah.
It wasn't reading the notes yet. But I could read the chords and figured out how to finger it at a very young age. And I did sort of the same thing. Homesick for the one weekend, I learned like most of the paradiddles that drummers play. Just the one weekend I sat home sick. My dad had this drum book and drumsticks, and I sat there and I said, "Yeah, this is." But I'll show you right hand, left hand. The clicks, the X's are ons, these are offs. He's like, "How'd you learn that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just can learn. I can look at this and tell you this is how it goes."
See, so right there, I mean, the guy taught himself how to play the guitar.
And the drums. I'm a drummer. He taught himself rudiments. People go through school to
Don't forget
learn
about
rudiments.
paradiddles.
Yeah, paradiddles, flammadiddles, all those different diddles, all those rudiments. I know all of them because I myself am a drummer, so I know how hard it is.
That's true. No, but you're not a self-taught drummer, correct? I mean, you actually had training.
Well, I had training, formal training through the school system. So, and I got lucky where I had one of the best drum instructors on the planet, in my opinion, Jim Barry. Oh my God. Woo. Jim Barry to the rescue instead of Jim Dandy.
I like that. But I mean, what a great thing. So he taught himself how to play the guitar, and he really found a love in it, and he found a way to do it his entire life.
Well, not just that. It just shows he's a calm guy.
Yeah.
Very calm, very humble guy. But you can see just through that talk alone, if you didn't see it from the first episode, through that conversation alone, or that little part of him talking, he just shows you how much of a grasp of the concept of the business, the music, everything. So that tells you about him as a person.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
Yeah, and not just musically. I mean, he even produces his own stuff, too.
You know what? We actually have some audio left over from him talking about production, too.
Let's play it back for him.
You know, you get to just come out here in your studio and, put on the headphones by yourself and do all these parts. It must be great. And I'm all selfishly, yes.
Yeah.
It's really great.
and honestly, that's where I want to be. And it takes a lot to get to that. And you have to truly put your all into it.
Yeah, especially time.
It does. Some people don't realize how time consuming it is. And you can take as much time as you want, and my stuff, to be honest, if I had a style of recording, I would say it's a little bit garagey. It doesn't have to be perfect, in my opinion.
No.
I think good performances will trump any sort of. It's neat to have a shiny song. Don't get me wrong, and that has an image of its own, sort of like a shiny picture of yourself. There's two ways you can look at it.
But yeah, he's talking about his pictures. He's talking about the style, the way he does his production. It's really kind of neat to know that not only did he grow up as a musician, he grew up as a producer at the same time. Like he's roundabout all. So like,
He's a one-man army.
What is it? Head Trap Studios on Facebook.
Yes.
So if you're a musician out there and you want to know who to go to, to like practice whatnot, work with him, talk to him, email him, get a hold of him on Facebook.
He's a great guy. He's got lots of useful information for you.
Yeah, and actually, if you want to really go see him, coming up June 27th, he's playing the OB Street Fair.
No shit.
Yeah, it's just in a couple of Saturdays. He's going to be playing the OB Street Fair. He's main stage at noon. Head on down there. I love the street fair.
It's free. You can go in. They've got so much stuff for everybody and free music. Hello. Yeah. You can't argue with that.
But to tide you over, you should go to the main fair.
Oh, the fair. Oh, the San Diego County Fair. That's right. It's back. It's back until July.
That's a little over the top there,
I don't
Tyler.
give a shit. I'm excited. Hold on. No. I mean, it's exciting. And, dude, I'll tell you why, man. I had some of the best food there. Like, I never thought that I would be so excited about food until the San Diego Fair came around, and I have totally turned into a food junkie. Like, I'm telling you.
I can't believe how excited you are right now about the freaking
I'm such a food boner. It's insane. They've got these donuts.
You were there for opening day.
I was there. The opening day, they had the broadcast out, and they were serving us up everything, all the best of the best and stuff. And some of these things included, like, these Texas-sized donuts. I mean, they were the size of the plate itself. Some of them were made to look and taste like Girl Scout cookies, like Samoas.
What?
Yes, dude. It's, oh, my God, so good. There was, like, breakfast ones with bananas and shit. And then there's also, like, not breakfast food. Like, they had this thing called Mexican curly fries, which essentially looked like a giant giant brain made out of French fries, and then they threw a bunch of jalapenos and beans and cheese and shit, all the stuff that's going to make you not poop and poop way too much, all in one. And then
I love it. That's a good balance, if you ask me.
yeah, keep it right in the middle. I like that. And it will, like I said, stay right there in the middle.
I can see. You do look a little more portly than you did last broadcast.
That's all the deep fried stuff that Chicken Charlie's makes. By the way, one of the things which is so far my favorite thing to eat this year is the Krispy Kreme triple decker.
You know, I had that at the media night.
Wasn't that good?
It was phenomenal. It's a triple cheeseburger.
Yeah,
it's called the triple decker.
Yeah, there's 3 patties of burger,
3 slices of cheese,
cheeses, and they take 2 whole Krispy Kreme donuts and just sandwich the whole thing together.
And I miss Krispy Kreme. There's only like one around here.
Really?
Yeah. There's only one around here. They get those. They get those. Believe it or not, I learned this. They get those donuts brought in from the Krispy Kreme factory over in where the hell is it? It's over here. It's like a couple 100 miles away. They get them shipped there because they've had those every year. They have the Krispy Kreme donuts every year.
Are you kidding?
No.
Wow, they've
always had.
It's like a White Castle burger, like the real one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Pretty
Only it's
much.
way better than a White Castle burger.
Exactly.
Dude, I never thought I could have dessert and dinner at the same time and be so satisfied.
Now, being from Ohio, I almost take a little bit of offense to that statement because it's hard to say that anything is better than a White Castle. However, Krispy Kreme donuts and burger, for some reason, go together.
They do.
Like white on rice.
And it is, I have to say this, it's a little bit better than the Krispy Kreme chicken sandwich that I had the year before. That was a jelly-filled donut wrapped around that, and then they give you honey to pour over the top of it. Oh, my God, a pitch in a tent. So anyway, I can't wait to go back.
I had no idea this was going to be a food episode. I'm hungry.
Well, there's not just food at the fair. That's definitely one of the draws, but they also have a lot of music going on there.
They do. They do. And I believe Frampton and Cheap Trick, they're playing tonight.
Yes, you're right. It is tonight.
So
absolutely. Cheap Trick and Frampton together. Grammy award-winning Peter Frampton. Can you make your guitar talk? He can make his guitar talk.
Well, I mean,
Are you talking like this? You gotta do that. This is my way. New.
Oh, my God. I never get tired of that. I don't care.
I've been doing that since I was 12. That hurts my throat.
That's so funny. So anyway, he's going to be there tonight with Cheap Trick. But, you know, the whole fair, it's a star-studded cast every single fucking day. I mean, you've got Kansas is going to be there. Greg Allman is going to be there.
I know. I can't wait.
Oh,
But you know what's awesome about the fair, other than the musicians?
What's that?
They have a website.
They do have a website. And you can sit here and listen to us all day, but literally go to sdfair.com and check it out. They've got all the information and stuff for you there. But make sure you pop it open from the dustyfuton.com window that you already have open as you're listening to this and getting more episodes. And submitting anything that you have to say, any questions that you have to submit at dustyfuton.com.
We need musicians. We want them. We want to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're a musician.
If you're a
out
musician
there.
and you're listening to this, we want to talk to you. Email us, submit@dustyfuton.com.
That's right. Also, come on Twitter with us. We live tweet every Wednesday at 4.
Someone is behind a computer, bored out of their mind, waiting for you, and that's usually me and Tyler. So
never bored. Always, never dull moment in this place. It's always riveting.
We're on Facebook, too. And we have a website, www.dustyfuton.com.
Yes.
Check us out. We'll talk to you then.
Adios.
Okay, so that was interesting. I guess I completely forgot. We did our own replaying for that episode with those little rewind sounds and everything. So that was the initial Dusty Futon remix with Season 1, Episode 11. And had a few segments from when we had Mike Head in the previous week. And what's interesting is we had a lot more content with him. Just didn't know how to put it out there yet. We were still brand new with all of this. So instead of trying to figure out how to mix all that in, we just decided to talk about what was current at the time, which was the San Diego Fair coming into town. So that was quite exciting. And then we were both tapping into our network of friends to try and get as many musicians on as possible, but the scheduling just wasn't working out. We were all too busy. We were working too hard. The musicians were having a hard time, so we were still trying to figure out that right time frame to schedule our recording sessions. We didn't have another guest for that episode, and we didn't have another guest for episode 12 either. So instead, we decided to talk about Father's Day, which, again, was top of mind at that time, and our 3-month anniversary. So enjoy Season 1, Episode 12 of the Dusty Futon.
Well, it's dirty and it's brown, it's a little undown, like I just got it out of and lost and found. Trying to test it, germ infested, stained by food, partially digested. Nobody can say what you find between the dirty couch gushers that have never been cleaned. Missing keys or American cheese, trapped to sit where the kiss will conceive. Pleasure to meet ya, we're happy to see ya in the Dusty Futon.
You're in the Dusty Futon, sister.
Damn right. Welcome to the Dusty Futon. Where we don't do anything stupid like that, do we? Except for we choke quite often. I choke.
Yes.
I think I choked last
My job is
episode.
the voices.
You can only do the robot voice.
No. Yep, that's my voice.
Never get tired of it. I never get tired of it.
Still hurts my throat. So anyway, the Dusty Futon, man, we've been doing this for
3 months.
Can you believe it?
3 months.
3 months.
Right?
That's a quarter.
I feel like one of those parents, like, oh, my baby is 3 months old, you know, or he's 24 months. Like, no, bitch, he's 2. All right, 2. That's how many he is.
All righty, I think we found a pet peeve of TJ's.
Months. God, I'm gonna start telling people how many months old I am. I'm 30 years old.
Don't calculate
something.
it.
No, hold on. What's it? 360.
360.
367 months old.
It's
That's a month for every day of the year. Oh my God, I just got depressed now.
You just blew my mind. I'll
that
tell you
was
that.
information
All
I
right,
didn't want to know myself.
Let's shift off of that explosion.
Moving along.
And moving on.
Moving along.
We
So,
have developed a theme and what we want to do. And
Can you guess what it is?
music. Just in case.
Hold on. Wait, let's play something to help them think. Some music to help them think.
All right, that's enough.
Okay, if you haven't guessed
Yeah.
by now, it's music. It's definitely music. It's a show by musicians, for musicians,
About musicians.
about musicians.
Well, yeah, we want to do guests. We want to learn stuff. We want to research and find and gear up and help you be the best that we can be.
Yes.
Help you be the best
So
that
far,
we
we're
can
very
be.
far off, but we're getting there.
You know,
Slow
it's
and steady
baby
wins the
steps.
race.
It's baby 3-month baby
Exactly.
steps.
So that being said, you're a musician. You're listening in. Send us an email and come and join us on the show. Come take a seat on the Dusty Futon and let's talk a little bit about what you do and what you would like to do in the future. And we're going to help share you if you help share us.
But be careful because you never know what you're going to find on the Dusty Futon.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of gross.
Well, not just that. We may find a lot of information about like fathers
Yeah.
and how much of an influence they tend to be.
Uh-oh.
And
Telling you
we've
seeing
already found that out on a few of our guests. We talked a little bit about it, but you haven't mentioned too much about your dad and his influence on your musical career.
I have terrible daddy issues.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I went into porn after high school. No, actually, no. I love my dad to death. I really do. He's a great guy, and he shaped me to really be who I am today. And I take mostly after him, not just biologically, but in a lot of the things that we aspire for and the things that we like and appreciate.
So is he a musician?
He is a musician, and he actually got his start as a musician in drama. When he was in high school, he went into drama, and he met a lot of his friends through there. He did the whole song
Was
and
it women that
dance.
caused him to have so much drama?
Women are always
They're
the root of
always
drama.
drama.
So he was in drama. He did song and dance, and he did a lot of productions. He actually worked in Balboa Park. And worked with some pretty big names. Like, you remember, what's her name in Grease? The girl at the dance that tries to steal Danny from Sandy, the Latina chick. He was actually in a production with her.
Oh.
I can't remember what it was. I think it was West Side Story. I believe he was in it with her.
I went to live in America.
yeah.
So
Happy
much
to
to see
live
in
in
America. Happy to be in America. Okay.
So anyway, so that's where he started. But then, he liked music so much, he joined and had a bunch of bands with his high school buddies growing up. Phil Manoa, John Manoa. Now he's in a classic rock cover band called Red Handed, and they play all over San Diego, mostly Peabody's, and I think there's a place called Carver Steakhouse in Poway. Frequent there all the time.
Red-handed.
Red-handed, yes. And they do a lot of Lynyrd Skynyrd, Rolling Stones cover bands, but they always have people dancing. It's a great time. I guarantee you. Check them out
Nice.
if you get the chance, and
Nice.
they'll
Well-
show you a great time. But so and eventually, he grew up. He started a family. We were all born, and he shared his love of classic rock and music with us, and it just stuck. It really did. And as I got older, I started to appreciate a lot of the things that he taught me, and I just took everything that he took me, basically, and learned how to perform on my own, learned how to become good at my trade, which I think I did.
Yeah, you're all right. That's only you in the intro.
Exactly. But so I have to pay a lot of tribute to my father. If you're listening to this right now, Dad, James Johnson, thank you. Thank you very much. I love you. Happy Father's Day coming up. And, thank you for giving me everything, including my giant cock. It was also my stage name when I was in the band, too. They called me Giant Johnson.
Giant Johnson. Oh. Oh, we have to edit that out because that's your last name.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
You really want that to stay in?
I don't care.
All right.
There's so many Tyler Johnsons in the world. I mean, I could tell everybody I play for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and they'd be like, "That Tyler Johnson? No way!"
I didn't realize you were white.
Yeah, I also pitched left-handed for the Cleveland Indians, and I also played in the NBA.
That's boring. Everybody asks me if I'm related to Bill when they hear my last name. That's all.
Oh, Bill Gates?
Yeah.
Well, what about Antonio?
Not really. But the
Because
funny thing,
you're built like
Yeah,
Antonio.
that's the funny thing is I'm his height and his size.
Yeah.
I'm just fat.
I think
And
you
he's
might actually be able to lay a block out on Antonio Gates if you
Yeah.
wanted to.
Potentially.
That's right. And Antonio, if you're listening, that's a challenge. Come on down to the Dusty Futon. I want to see Big John take you on.
The funny thing about that is that my last name being Gates actually got me to like the Chargers because of my chief in the Navy. He
Really?
kept calling me Antonio and asking me how the game was every Monday fucking morning. So I finally said, you know what? I got to start watching the damn game. So I started watching the Chargers. And this is about 2004.
Oh, right when they picked up and it got exciting real quick.
And then
LT
I was like,
in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, man, good times.
I jumped in, and you would call me a bandwagon fan normally.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, with me, I've always been a home team fan. Wherever I live, I root for.
You're such a poser.
Oh, exactly. and you know what the worst part is? Okay, so I lived in Jacksonville for like 12 months. Guess what year I lived in Jacksonville?
What year?
The year they went to the Super Bowl.
Are you
Jaguars.
kidding? So were you a fan? Were you
99.
on the bandwagon then?
Hell
Who
yeah!
did-
I just
oh my
moved
God.
into this. I just moved into the city, and I'm just having a blast because holy shit, the team for the city that I live in is kicking ass. So everybody else is
That's
enjoying it.
Awesome.
So I'm a very lucky bandwagon fan, but I'm not a bandwagon. I call myself a home team fan.
Mm-hmm. But it's where you come from. It's where you come from
Right
that
now-
matters. Like if I leave, if I were to go somewhere, like let's say I moved to Cincinnati in Bengals territory, you better believe I'm wearing blue and gold into that stadium any day that I can get a chance.
See, here's the funny thing now
Mm-hmm.
is now that I've lived here for so long and had so much love developed for the Chargers, this is where I come from. I bleed blue and gold now.
Yeah.
So if
that's
I
my
were
boy.
if I were to go to a Bengals Chargers game, you better believe it. I'd be throwing a Gates jersey on so that my Gates family, who roots for the Bengals,
right.
can see their last name on the back of me rooting for my Chargers to whip their ass.
Yeah.
So I hope you hear that, Dad. Happy Father's Day.
That's right. That's right. Senor Gates.
My dad did a lot of music growing up too. He was always infatuated with stylings of Eric Clapton, of Stevie Ray Vaughan, and one of my favorite albums growing up was the Vaughan Brothers Family Style album.
Okay.
That my dad had, and we played it quite often. I played it quite often. I just loved to listen to it because I thought it was really good music.
Mm-hmm.
And so my dad taught me that. The reason I didn't learn the guitar at such an early age is because of my ADD. And then when that came into fruition, where I was like kind of able to control it, my brother was playing the guitar, and he's 2.5 years older than me. I'm like, I'm not going to do what my brother does.
Yeah.
Just like he went into band and he was playing horns.
Yeah.
I went into band and I was playing drums. I know nothing but having music in my life. Like I grew up with it because my mom even played she played the guitar. Like I had Peter, Paul, and Mary from her. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea. Anyway, so
That's great, though. I mean, you got your mom and your dad, so you had music coming from both sides.
yeah, I bleed music. Like,
See, my mom never really gave me music in that sense. I mean, she always liked music, but she listened to terrible music. She listened to country and, like, Enya and things like that. That was spot on.
I know.
Were you in the band?
I was at one point.
Dude, that was crazy, man.
Yeah, I was the N of
So needless
Enya.
to say, I didn't really look into my mom as far as musical inspiration, and she didn't really care for the bands that I started in a garage, maybe because we sucked and we were just loud.
Isn't that what most bands are when they start? They just
Yes, but you know
suck
what?
and they're loud.
See, this is my motto. If you get the cops called, you're a shitty band, and we never got the cops called on us.
If the cops aren't called on you, you're pretty good. But if you start playing a song and you see people around you toe tapping, then you keep working with that.
That's what I loved about music. An idea that came into your brain, you figured out a way to communicate it with the minds of
with your own medium, your style.
Yes, and without even thinking about it, involuntarily, they react to it in a positive way.
And that's what this podcast is about. That's what the Dusty Futon is. It's a way to sit down, relax, and share, and we'll find out, and learn, and we'll do that together. If you have a question, if you have something you want us to figure out and relay to you and talk about and debate about, email it to submit@dustyfuton.com.
That's right. You can even get a little personal. You can go Big John at dustyfuton.com or TJ at dustyfuton.com. You can find us on Facebook. Search The Dusty Futon. And also on Twitter. Our handle is @DustyFuton.
And every Wednesday night at 4 p.m. for at least an hour, one of us or both of us are sitting here behind a computer to live tweet. If you want to chat with us back and forth, ask us a direct question, we'll be here.
Yeah, in fact, let us know any fun father stories that you have.
Please.
You got some great experiences, maybe some pictures of you and your dad. Share it with us and stuff, and we'll try and get it together for a nice little Father's Day special on our website.
Yeah, definitely. If you do share us pictures too, if you send them to us at submit@dustyfuton.com, they will go straight up under our website.
And happy Father's Day from the Dusty Futon.
All right, so as you can tell, that was just kind of a gratuitous episode where Tyler and I got to talk about our podcast and the direction it's going. We also talked a little bit about our influences, and we just kind of rambled on. It was actually a fun episode looking back. I remember recording that, not having any idea where we were going, what we were doing, and we only knew what we wanted, and we were just having a blast. So it's been one hell of a run, and I do miss Tyler, and maybe we'll have him guest host or guest co-host on a future episode or a couple of future episodes. As it stands right now, we are going to have Season 6 debut on April 4th, 2018, and that is going to be awesome with a brand new co-host, and we've got other features coming along the entire way with Season 6. It's going to be a blast. Make sure you subscribe to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcast from so that you don't miss a single episode, because we are still doing the remix. We've got a few more episodes to do with Season 1 before we move on to Season 2, and then before you even know it, we will be at Season 6. So make sure you subscribe to get all that stuff. If you know a musician, or if you are a musician and you want your own episode, make sure you email us at admin@dustyfuton.com. Get all your musician friends to shoot me an email. We will get you on an episode. It's really, really that easy. Thank you again for tuning in to this Big John Entertainment production. This is the Dusty Futon Remix, Season 1. I want to thank Backstage 360 for their participation in this episode. And I also want to thank Michael Head of Head Trap Studios and Country Rockin' Rebels for joining us on these episodes. Thanks again for listening to the Dusty Futon.